Hello students, let us see our last topic, AC generator, that is topic number 6.10, AC generator. Now as name indicates, it is the production of an alternating current. We have two types of current, the DC current and AC current. So AC generator is used to generate an alternating current. DC generator or the DC source or a cell or battery. Now what is the principle of AC generator? So first we write the principle. So AC generator principle is it converts mechanical energy into an electrical energy. So a device which will convert a mechanical energy into an electrical energy is called AC generator. So it converts mechanical energy into a electrical energy. It is based on principle of induced EMF, and we know the EMF can be induced in many ways. Now the EMF can be induced due to change in a magnetic flux, that is the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction. So the magnitude of induced EMF is equal to the time rate of change of the magnetic flux, and the magnetic flux can be varied in different ways. One way is to change the magnitude of the magnetic field. Other way is to change the shape and the size of the coil, that is by shrinking or stretching the coil. Another way was by changing theta, where theta was angle between the magnetic field intensity and the area vector of the coil. So in AC generator, we will rotate a coil in a magnetic field, in a uniform magnetic field. So when the coil is rotated in a uniform magnetic field, the angle between the magnetic field and the area vector will change at every instant. So continuously the coil will be rotated. As a result, the magnetic flux will change, and this change in magnetic flux will induce EMF in a coil. So it is based on the principle of induced EMF, or we can also say it is based on the principle of electromagnetic induction, and it will convert your mechanical energy into an electrical energy. Now let us see the construction. So in AC generator, we need a uniform magnetic field. So a uniform magnetic field is created with the help of two strong magnets. So this is the uniform magnetic field. In this uniform magnetic field, we place a coil having N turns. So we place a rectangular coil having N turns, and this coil is free to rotate in the magnetic field. This is the axis of rotation of a coil. This is the axis of the rotation of the coil. This coil is rotated with the help of, or by the mean of by an external mean, that is by some mechanical energy. So this coil has to be rotated. This coil having N turns is mounted on the shaft, which we called as a motor shaft or sometime axle. So this rectangular coil is mounted on a motor shaft, or you can say a axle. So because sorry, it is called as a rotor shaft, not a motor shaft. It is a rotor shaft, which is axle. This axis of rotation is perpendicular to the magnetic field. So a coil having n turns is mounted on rotor shaft and it is free to rotate in uniform magnetic field. The axis of rotation is perpendicular to B vector. So this is your axis of rotation. This coil is connected to a slip rings with the help of a carbon brush. So this is the slip ring which is connected to a carbon brushes. So these two are carbon brushes and these two are the slip rings. These two carbon brushes are connected to the two terminals from where we will get an output. So we will get an alternating output from this end A and B. Now this wire or the coil end is just touched with the slip ring. Now when this coil rotates, the magnetic flux linked with it will change. So first we see the construction. Now this coil is connected to slip rings and carbon brushes, or we can say it is a carbon rod. The coil is also called armature. So the coil having n turns is sometimes referred as armature, and the coil is rotated by external means mechanically. So it will convert your mechanical energy into a electrical energy. So this is the basic construction of AC generator, where we have a coil of n turns which is mounted on a rotor shaft or axle. This coil will rotate in the magnetic field, uniform magnetic field. The magnetic field and the axis of rotation are perpendicular to each other. The coil is connected to slip ring and carbon brush, across which we take out an output. So here there will be an induced EMF. We will see that one end will become positive, other end will become negative, and after a half cycle the polarity will reverse, because it will produce an AC current or AC voltage or AC EMF. So this is the basic construction. Now let us see this coil, how the coil is rotated and how the angle between the area vector and the magnetic field will change. So let us consider this as a rectangular coil which is placed in the magnetic field. So this is a rectangular coil which is placed in a magnetic field. Let us assume that this side is a north pole. So we have this wall as a north pole and this wall as a south pole. then the magnetic field is from north to south. This is the axis of rotation. This is the axis of rotation, and this is the coil is placed initially. So initially we assume that a coil is placed like this. These two ends of the coil are connected with the slip rings, which is similar to this ring. So this wire, one end of the coil, when it comes out, it just touches the slip ring. So it is not connected, it just touch the ring, because when the coil will rotate, this end will also rotate like this. So if you connect this permanently, then the coil will not be able to rotate. So this one end of this one wire, one end is just touched to the slip ring. This is the slip ring. So this is how when the coil will rotate. So let us assume that this is a coil and we have one end touched to it. So this is a coil like this, and here we have a carbon brush, or say a carbon rod, across which we will take a output. So now when the see the initial condition, when this coil is rotated, so we have to rotate the coil by external means mechanically, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Now initially if I keep the coil like this, the area vector is say along the y-axis. The axis of rotation is z-axis and the magnetic field is along x-axis. Now if I want to rotate it, I have to apply the force externally, or it is rotated by some external mean. Now if I rotate it's clockwise, the force acting on this end should be downward, and the force acting on this end should be upward. Then only it will be able to rotate clockwise. So now we start how it works. Initially, if area vector is along the y-axis and the magnetic field is along the x-axis, the magnetic flux we know is BAN cos theta. Cos 90 is 0. So no, the magnetic flux linked with this coil is 0. And if you assume the coil is placed like this initially, and I have to rotate it clockwise, then the force on this end should be in this direction, and the force acting on this length should be in this direction. So area vector and the magnetic field are in the same direction. Then the magnetic flux is maximum. So all the field lines will pass through this area which is held normal to the magnetic field. It will be maximum. So this flux will become maximum minimum. It will oscillate between maximum and minimum value. And as the flux will change, as the magnetic flux will change, the EMF will be induced in this coil and the current will be produced. So let us see the working and the mathematical expression for AC generator. Now let us see the working of this AC generator. So it is based on the principle of the electromagnetic induction. So let us assume initially the coil is like this. In order to rotate, the force acting on this side or this end is in downward direction. This is in the upward direction. So we assume the coil will rotate in clockwise direction. So let us assume the coil rotate in a clockwise direction. Let coil rotates with angular velocity omega. The magnetic flux linked with coil linked with coil phi b is equal to BA cos theta. That is our equation number 1, where theta is angle between B vector and A vector. Now when this coil rotate, theta will be referred as angular displacement, and angular displacement is nothing but an angular velocity multiplied by time. So if it rotates, it will perform a uniform circular motion. So from that we can find out that theta is equal to omega t. This is angle between B vector and A vector. So the magnetic flux is equal to BA cos of omega t. So now theta is replaced by omega t, where omega is the angular velocity. Clearly, if I keep a coil like this, the flux is maximum because theta is 0. So cos 0, 1. So it will become BA. And now when this coil rotates continuously, it keeps on rotating, the theta will keep on changing. The change in theta will change the magnetic flux, and according to Faraday law, we will apply the Faraday law and we find that the EMF should be induced. So when the coil rotates, the magnetic flux linked with the coil changes. So when coil rotates, magnetic flux changes as theta changes. For n turns, so if there are n turns in a coil, EMF induced is equal to minus n d phi by dt. So EMF is equal to, we do the derivative of this, so it becomes BA derivative of cos, that is minus sine, so it becomes plus, and then derivative of omega t, it is omega, so formula becomes NBA omega sine of omega t, that is E can be written as ben omega sine omega t. This is the value of EMF induced in the coil according to the Faraday law. And if you see the equation, BAN W or omega is constant. This is a constant term. The maximum and the minimum value, or you can say sine oscillates between plus 1 and minus 1. So the maximum minimum value of sine is plus minus 1, and therefore this value becomes the maximum value of EMF induced. Here sine omega t oscillates between plus 1 and minus 1. That is its maximum minimum value. Therefore Emax, or sometimes we write EM only, value is BAN omega, and therefore EMF induced is equal to EM sine of omega t, where EM is called as, here EM is the maximum induced EMF, or it is also called as the amplitude of the induced EMF. It is also called as the amplitude of induced EMF. It is the maximum value. So since the sign will change continuously with respect to time, we know that sign is a function of time. So this sign value will keep on changing with respect to time, and this omega t is nothing but theta. So theta is continuously changing. So EMF induced will also continuously change. And if we see mathematically, the magnetic flux is a function of cosine and the EMF induced is the function of sine. So they are complementary to each other. One becomes maximum, other becomes minimum. So when the coil rotates, when the flux is maximum, the EMF induced is 0. And when the flux is minimum, that is 0. This is the situation when the flux is 0 because the angle is 90 degree. So whenever coil or area vector makes an angle 90 degree or 270 degree, with the magnetic field, the magnetic flux will be 0. And when the magnetic flux is 0, at that time the EMF induced will be maximum. Sin 90 or sin 270 will be maximum, that is plus minus EM. So this is the maximum value of the induced EMF, or sometime in the coming lecture, in AC lecture, alternating current chapter, we will also call it a amplitude of induced EMF. So this is the formula for the induced EMF. Let's see how the current changes its direction. So we derived the formula for the flux to be BA cos omega t, and EMF induced is equal to BA and omega sine of omega t. One is sine and one is cosine, that we have already seen. So when one becomes minimum, the other becomes maximum, both are complementary. This is known as a maximum EMF induced. Now how the polarity will change? Now we will later on, after this, we will also plot the graph of EMF induced with respect to time, because flux and EMF induced are the function of sine, and sine cosine depend on time. So the value of the flux and EMF will keep on changing because the coil is continuously rotating. Now let us see how the direction of the induced current is determined. So direction of induced current is determined by Fleming right hand rule. Now in this right hand rule, the thumb is the direction of the force or the direction of motion. Forefinger, so F, that is magnetic field, and then we will take center finger C, which will give you the direction of the induced current. So how will you determine the direction of the induced current? The direction of the induced current is determined by Fleming right hand rule. So this is the right hand rule. The thumb gives the direction of the motion of the coil, that is the force. This is called as forefinger. So forefinger F, field, magnetic field, and central finger will give you the direction of the induced current. Now we have taken the direction of rotation to be clockwise. So suppose I keep a coil like this. This is my end P, Q, R, S. The two ends are connected with the slip ring. So this is the slip rings. They are kept, this wire, one end is kept. So my hand should be considered as a coil. This is the wire and this is slip ring. It rotates like that. This slip ring is again touched with a carbon rod. They are not connected, they are just kept in contact. Because when the coil will rotate, the slip ring will also rotate, or this wire will rotate like this. And the polarity will change. Let us see how the polarity will change. So if the coil is kept like this initially, so what is the flux? Flux is 0. Or you can determine from the direction. This is the area vector. area vector and magnetic field are 90 degree. Cos 90 0, flux 0, sin 90 1. So current should be maximum. Now let us apply the right hand thumb rule. PQRS, PQRS. This is the situation. So this forefinger in the direction of field, north to south. Coil is rotating clockwise. So the force on this end is upward. So upward. So where is the direction of this central finger? Inward. So current is going in. Current is going in. And for this, again magnetic field is same, but the force is in downward direction because the coil has to be rotated clockwise. So magnetic field, force downward. So current comes out from the coil. Current comes out. So whenever force act in a downward direction, we are talking only of the clockwise motion. The coil can also be rotated in anti-clockwise direction. So here I am taking an example of clockwise direction. So when the force is upward, the current is going inward. When the force is downward, the current is coming out from the coil. So this is the situation. So in this case, the current B behave like a positive and A behave like a negative. This is the situation. So assume this is T is equal to 0 and this is the situation. 90, sin 90 is maximum. Now after 90 degree, this is 90 degree, flux becomes maximum. Flux becomes maximum. Flux maximum means theta is 0. So cos 0 maximum. EMF induced is 0. So when we rotate from 0 to 90 degree, we will see after this diagram how the graph is formed, and mathematically you know what is the graph of a sine. So you know the mathematically the graph of sine is like this, and cosine will be complementary. So when this becomes minimum, that becomes maximum. So this will be the graph of a flux. Now we started from this point when the current is maximum. We started from this point when the current is maximum to understand the direction of induced current. Then the current will start decreasing. At this point, the current becomes 0. The current becomes 0. Now this is 0 to 90 degree. So current becomes starting, we started like this. Remember, we started like this to understand the direction of the induced current. Here the flux is minimum. Now after 90 degree, when I rotate it by 90 degree, the flux becomes maximum and current becomes minimum. Or you can put an angle, area vector and magnetic field are in same direction, theta 0, sin 0, 0. Now the polarity will change. So the coil is rotated by 180 degree. So polarity is changed. So PQ comes to this side. Again the force in this is downward direction. So in downward direction the current comes out. So from PQ current which was going in, now the current is coming out. So the slip ring should also move, or this wire move like this inside this. This is my slip ring. So wire move like this. Now this coil, say the length of RS is drawn small and that PQ is drawn small. Otherwise both the rings are kept coaxially or like this. Both the rings are kept concentric or coaxial, along the same axis. But in the diagram we show it separately. So this length is shown smaller as compared to PQ. So the smaller length that was connected with this slip ring, and the longer end is connected to the slip ring B. So we have two slip rings. We named it S1 and S2. So RS was connected to S1, say PQ is connected to S2. So this is my slip ring S1, this is my slip ring S2. So slip rings are also performing, or they are also in motion. So now the PQ which was at this point has come to this side. Now the force is downward direction. So current should come out. So current comes out. So now see the polarity. So earlier the current was flowing from B to PQRS and A. Now the current is flowing from A to B. Now A behave like a positive terminal and B behave like a negative terminal. That is, polarity has changed. But when the polarity will change after 180 degree. So if I take a graph like this, 0 to maximum, maximum to minimum, then the polarity after 180 degree, after every half cycle, the polarity will change. So this is only the two positions shown to understand the direction of the induced current. Let us start at t is equal to 0 and plot the graph of EMF induced. So when t is 0, sine this t is 0, so sine 0 is 0. So we will start from this. Then the current in PQ will increase inward. So while plotting the graph, we will start from this. To understand the direction of the induced current, we started with this position where the coil was kept parallel to the magnetic field. So your area vector was perpendicular. That is, the area vector makes a 90 degrees. So sine 90 is maximum. So we started from this point in this diagram, this point. Then the current started decreasing. So this is 90 degree. Now the polarity will change. So the current in this end will come out. So for PQ it was going in. Now we will start step by step from t is equal to 0. The EMF will be 0. So we will start now in the next diagram. We will start like this. So in this situation the flux is maximum. All the field lines will pass through it. When all the field line pass through it, flux will be maximum. EMF induced will be minimum. Now as the coil start rotating, the current will be induced. The current will be induced. So this force is acting in a downward direction. Whenever the force acts in downward direction, this will be acting in a downward direction, the current will come out from the coil, or you apply the Fleming rule. So now current will start increasing. 90 degree, sine 90 maximum, EMF become maximum. Then 90 to 180, the current does not change polarity but its value decreases. And after 180 degree the polarity changes. So initially the current start from suppose 0, it become maximum 5 ampere. Then it becomes 5 to 0. Then the polarity will change 0 to -5. Here minus sign indicate that the polarity has changed. Then from -5 ampere to again 0. So the one cycle is completed. This is EMF. If I want to find out the current, I write IR, where R is the resistance of this coil. So I can be written as EM upon R sine of omega t. This can be written as IM sine omega t, where Im is a maximum current in the circuit. So it is like this. The current rises from 0 to 5 ampere, 5 ampere to 0, 0 to -5. Here minus sign means the polarity has changed, and then -5 to 0. So let us now see what is the plot of EMF versus time when the coil makes one complete rotation. So let us see the next diagram. That the coil is rotating in a clockwise direction. So we consider the orientation now, and we will see how the induced EMF. We know that the flux was equal to BA cos omega t, and EMF induced was equal to BA and ban omega sine of omega t. This was the EMF induced. Let us see the graph of induced EMF. Now see the initial situation. Now you have to consider the coil like this. This is your point R. This is your S. So P, Q, R, S. So this is the initial situation. Sorry, this is P, Q, R, S. P, Q, R, S. So this is the initial situation. Now when this is coil is placed like this, the flux is maximum. So EMF induced is minimum. This is the situation. This is, you remember, this is your S and this point is P. Now after 90 degree, this is the situation. This is your S. So P, Q, R, S. Now the flux is minimum. You see the area vector and magnetic field are 90 degrees. So cos 90 is 0. Sin 90 maximum. So EMF induced is maximum. So this is the situation. So we started like this. This was your P. This was Q, R, S. This is 90 degree. Then we have 180 degree. So PQ, again we say this is your P. Initially we keep like this. This is your P, Q, R, S. So the front is P and S. P and S. Now we rotate like this. This is your point P. Then 90 degree rotation. Then again 90 degree. It comes like this. So this is P and this is S. This is 180 degree. Again the flux becomes maximum. Again the flux becomes maximum, or you substitute that value there. So we have rotated from 0 to 90 degree, then 90 to 180, sin 180, 0. So in the terms of angle, this is the graph is induced EMF versus time. But let us also write this in the terms of angle. So this is pi by 2. This is pi. After 180 degree, the polarity has changed. So PQ, which was this end, so initially this was your P, Q, R, S. Initially EMF 0, 90 degree maximum, 180 degree minimum. Now after 180 degree, this is 270. So this is your P now. So 270. So polarity PQ will come to this side. So the polarity of that point A and B in the diagram will change and the graph will become like this. So this end is, in the terms of angle, it is 3 pi by 2. That is 270 degree. And then one complete rotation, it becomes 2 pi. And in the terms of time, this the graph is time. So this is 1/4 second. So T by 4. This is half second. T by 2. This is 3T by 4. And this become T. So this is one rotation is completed. That is 90, 180, 270 and 360. The polarity of EMF will change. So initially we keep a coil. Again we check this. This end is P, this is S. Initial the EMF is 0. This is the maximum flux. This is the flux is maximum. See, angle is 0. This is your area vector and magnetic field. So cos 0, maximum. Then we rotate like this. This is your P point. This is 90 degree. Sorry. This is your S point. This is 90 degree. S. So 90 degree, the EMF become maximum. So again we rotate by 90 degree, flux maximum. So EMF minimum. This is your S. Then again 90. So total rotation 270. So from 180 to 270, the EMF will increase, but the polarity will change. And again, as come to this end, this is one complete rotation. So from 270 to 360, again the EMF will increase. So the polarity keeps on changing, 0 to maximum, maximum to minimum. Here the direction has not changed, but the value becomes 0 to maximum, maximum to minimum. Then after 180 degree, the polarity will change. Now if I have to draw the graph of the flux, that should be the cosine. So if I want to draw the graph of a flux, this is minimum, so maximum. This is maximum, so minimum. Minimum, maximum. This is minimum, maximum. Then it becomes maximum, so we have minimum. Minimum, maximum. So it should be the cosine graph. We know the cosine graph is opposite to this. So maximum, minimum. This will be the graph of cos. You can draw with a scale, proper curve should be drawn. So one is sine graph and other is the cosine graph, like that. This is the graph for a flux. One increases, the other will decrease. So you can start this coil anywhere. If I keep a coil like this, then I will say the flux is minimum. The flux is minimum. Here we started with flux to be maximum. So the EMF induced was 0. If I keep like this, the flux is minimum. Then this is 90 degree, 180, 270 and 360 degree. So we come back to the same position, and after 180 degree the polarity will change. After 180 degree the polarity will change, because this PQ end which is on this side, after 180 degree it will come to this side. So the direction of the induced current or induced EMF oscillate between plus and minus. That is the range of the sine function or a cosine function. So this is how AC generator produce an alternating current, because the polarity changes after 180 degree. The output EMF is called as AC voltage, or output current is called as alternating current or AC current. Now let us say example 11, which is again the direct application of this formula. It is given that Kamla pedals a stationary bicycle with the pedal of bicycle are attached to 100 tons coil. So N is equal to 100 tons of area. So A is equal to 0.1 meter square. So the bicycle, the pedals of the bicycle are attached to 100 tons coil. So this two outputs are connected to the bicycle pedals. The coil rotates half a revolution per second. So it rotates half revolution per second, that is RPS. So it is nothing but a frequency. So it can also be written as 0.5 Hertz. So the rotation period is 0.5 rotation per second. In 1 second, the rotation is 0.5. And it is placed in the magnetic field of B is equal to 0.1 Tesla perpendicular to the axis of the rotation. What is the maximum voltage generated in the coil? So the maximum EMF induced is equal to BAN omega. That is BAN omega. This is the maximum EMF induced. Now B is given, A is given, N is given. Omega is the angular velocity. So it can be written as 2 pi f. That is 2 pi into frequency. So now this becomes 2 pi BANF. You substitute all this 4 values multiplied by 2 pi. You will get the maximum EMF induced. So this is all about we have for today's lecture. Have a nice day.